Call the meeting to order. This is the April 14th, 2015 regular town board meeting. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. We'll start off with business. Paul, I know I had you up, but it's actually inappropriate. It's not inappropriate, but you still got tightly, or you're still finishing up the Hamlet. So folks, that's where we are. We're pretty close, but there's still some I's to be dotted and T's to cross before we, so hopefully by the next meeting we'll be able to present. If not, I'll send out an email. I invite everybody to the ZRC meeting, and that way we can, talk to it. If that's all right. I mean, it seems to be working pretty good so far, so, feedback's been pretty good. So, all right, thanks, Paul. Hazard Mitigation Committee, Mike Coolin.
Yes. Would you like me to give you an update?
If you could.
Okay.
Actually, I think I forgot mine.
What would you like, an update?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee update for the town of Princetown. Hazardous Mitigation Committee has met twice in 2015. James Colon, the planner from the Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning, attended each meeting and reviewed the county's hazard mitigation plan. While reviewing the details, he queried the committee for information the county needed to determine Princetown's hazards and specific needs and resources that were relative to the county's plan. As a result, Princetown has completed its responsibility to review and provide feedback on the county's hazard mitigation plan. At this time, the committee is waiting to receive a final copy of the county plan to present to the town board. In addition, the committee participated in a Red Cross training hosted by PIAC. All in attendance benefited from the Red Cross emergency preparedness training and are now considered qualified for the Citizens Preparedness Corps. Based on an understanding of the county's hazard mitigation plan, the committee members have decided upon 3 short-term goals. 1, determine emergency preparedness needs for Princetown that are not provided for by the state or county. 2, discuss the benefit, possibility, and requirements to make Town Hall a short-term emergency shelter. And 3, provide needed information to town residents on emergency preparedness, including working with the Red Cross to offer the Citizen Preparedness Corps training to any interested residents. That's all I have.
Any questions for Mike? So I'm just going to jump in here a little bit. So I sat in on 1.5 of the 2 meetings. I had to leave early one night. Actually showed up a little bit late for it, but I'm pretty excited about this committee. I think it's going to provide a great resource to the town. I know the short-term goal now is to make sure we're integrated with the county and their emergency and hazard mitigation programs. But speaking with Mike and his committee, I think we can expand this, their involvement within the town, whether it's going to be like the hourglass committees, the fire departments, the emergency response, the emergency notifications, the Red Cross, disaster preparedness. I just am feeling, really positive about the work Mike and his committee's going to be doing. So really looking forward to working with Mike. We've already kind of reached out to the Plotter Kill. I haven't reached out to the other fire departments yet, but So, yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of good stuff coming out of there, so I think it's really good, really, really good for the community. So, thanks, Mike.
Welcome.
Although I don't have it on here, Carl, you want to give a quick update on? Sure. Yeah.
My name's Carl Barta. I'm the chair of the PAC committee. This year, as we've been doing for the last, whatever, 15, 20 years, PAC is once again going to run the Recycle Day program, and it's going to be April the 25th. It'll be from 8 till noon on that Saturday morning. For anybody that's not familiar with it, what we're doing is inviting anybody that's got scrap metal that they want to get rid of, along lines like bed frames, wheels, that type of metal junk, to bring it down and get rid of it, help make the place look a little bit better. The only thing we're not doing is anything with Freon in it. We're also taking tires, which we'll be charging people a small fee for. We're also going to expand the program a little bit this year by taking paper and cardboard. And we're going to further enhance the program this year by inviting the Girl Scouts to come down and participate. What they're going to be doing is cookie sales, and they're also going to be running a bottle drive. And in addition to that, we have the 4-H people coming down. The 4-H club will be selling some kind of refreshments, as well as disseminating information about their club. Well, so far I've been double checking with all the partners that we're involved with. And the Pretzel Company will be supplying the container where we're going to put all the scrap metal in. I touched base today with the tire guys. They're on board to come down and pick up the scrap tires. And got Nick Moore is going to volunteer the use of his front end loader, as he has for the last couple of years. So far it looks like everything's in order. The only thing I've got to do is email the local newspapers and have them put a notice in their community notes, and that'll be done this week. Also trying to get a small sandwich board type sign built so that we can advertise it out at the roadside. I think that'll enhance it. The key to this particular project is making people aware that we're actually doing it, so they've got time to go out behind the barn and get all that junk together and make sure they can bring it down on the day of the event. And that's pretty much it. So far it looks like everything's in order and everything's on schedule.
So,
That's it.
just for the residents of town, I'm sure we can use some volunteers, right?
I could probably use somebody to help us hand out trees. So we got about 800 trees that we've got coming in from Meadowview Nursery that we hand out to any of the Princetown residents that are participating. So I've got a variety of trees and shrubs that are coming in. So if anybody does have junk that want to get rid of, or if you're just a Princetown resident, bring down your proof of residency or a copy of your newsletter, and we'll send you home with some seedlings you can plant.
One more thing though.
How about electronic?
Oh, well, we're not taking electronics. We tried that a couple of years ago. The first year we tried it, we managed to fill up a pretty good size one of those U-Haul type vans. And then the next year we barely got one pallet load of stuff, because we're pretty much in direct competition with that big electronics recycling project that they do every year up at Top Furniture. I think people are so oriented toward getting rid of your junk there that for us to try to get into competition with them, plus there's no revenue in it, whereas with the scrap, at least we can sell that to the Pretzel Company and we can get some revenue, and we use that to offset the cost of the trees that we buy.
Okay. So one thing, when we first met this year with Mike's hazard committee was we had a presentation with the Red Cross, and it was I thought it was a really, really good presentation. I know through your contacts that you got it. So I was gonna ask the board and then ask you if it's okay that maybe we set up a Red Cross presentation for just the residents of town.
Yeah, I think that was, that was our original game plan anyway. It was to invite the Red Cross people and any other interested parties to come down and give us the initial presentation, and then we could review it. And, if we think that it's, and I think that going forward with Mike and the people of the hazmat committee, that it's something people would be interested in. And, now the next step would be to put it out, and whenever Mike and his gang are ready, we'll put it out and do a presentation which would be open to the general public.
I'd like to offer too, if we could, because I think it's just an important group that, if it's okay with you, I'll reach out to the Hourglass Committee and see maybe during one of their lunches we can coordinate a meeting with the Red Cross.
Yeah, fine with me. It's like, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Get the word out and find out what we can do for, people as far as talking about the hazards that might occur here. Not that we're not like in a flood stage or anything like that, but in the case of power outages, tornadoes, or things along that nature. And I guess recently, like the cell phone thing, I don't know if that's gonna be part of it.
That's maybe part of Mike's plan.
Okay, so, but, all those things we could address and iron out and put some things out there so that if it does happen in the future, we're ready for it.
Yeah. Like I say, I thought it was a good, especially, again, maybe the seniors and then his families can kind of use, not necessarily the Band-Aids and tourniquet type stuff, but household, hazards. If there is, emergency packs, you do have to leave the house quickly, you just grab the bag and go, and it's good for 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever it is. It was I thought it was a good presentation, I really did.
I did too.
Yeah, so, and thank you. Anything for Carl?
Carl, I was just gonna ask you, is there any specifics, I know it may not sound important, but anything specific as far as the paper and cardboard? I mean, is that magazines?
Not that I know of. It was just something that I threw out to the Prettle Company, and I said, well, we'd like to enhance our Recycle Day program. I said, what else can we get involved with? And I said, well, what about paper and cardboard? And basically what they told me was, all right, we can put a small, they called it a paper house or something that they could set up where people could dump their newspapers and cardboard into. And, it's nothing that we're gonna get any revenue out of, but it's just something that, okay, if you don't have single stream recycling, and you got, that bin of newspapers that have been piling up in the garage, gives you a way to get rid of it. So it's something we're trying it for the first time this year. We'll see how it goes. And if we fill it up, Prettle will take it away and, maybe make a couple of cents on it. I don't think there's a great deal of money to be made trying to scrap newspaper. It's not like with the metal where we get a substantial amount of money from it. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks, Carl. Before we get to the departments, the Records Advisory Board, along with the Records Management Officer, and with the assistance by Loretta Coolin, have updated the Records Management Policy. So I wanted to introduce that. Sandy, I don't know if you want to introduce it or...
No, you can.
Back to you, Mike. So, again, with the with Loretta, Sandy, the Records Advisory Board, reviewed by Mike, they pulled us down from the state's records. This is standard policy. I'd like to grab, a time with you guys to go through it in some detail, but it's ready for ready for full review here. I know the board, the Records Advisory Board, has been working on it for a while, so considering, you know, the nature of our, or how important records are to a government agency, I think it's pretty critical that we, you know, we take a look at it, take a look at the, some of the recommendations by the Records Advisory Board, and eventually adopt the policy. So I'll grab some time with you guys and ask again, either Sandy, the Records Advisory Board, and Loretta's got availability to walk us through it. But it's pretty detailed. I'm not sure, Sandy, we put it up on the website yet?
No, I did not.
Okay. So we'll get it up on the website along with the recommendations and the action plan. So again, I went through it. It's pretty up to date. A lot of contacts, a lot of websites in there for reference, so. All right, perfect. Thank you, Loretta, Records Advisory Board, and Sandy Fortune for all your work. And Mike Travis. Highway. So, assuming we haven't seen Nick. So I probably need to go on the record and say we haven't seen the highway in 7 months. And we're at that stage right now that we should be, if not already, have started executing on our 284 agreements. And that 284 agreement for the residents is, it's a form where you put all your highway projects on there, like projects 1 through 10, and then you put some pricing on there, the cost to the town, and then they present it back to the town board. The town board goes, well, I like number 1, I like number 2, I don't like number 3, we're gonna go move from number 4 up to number 3. So we go through the action register, I guess, for a better term, of the 284 agreement, and then, you know, by vote of the town board, we fund the appropriate programs that we think are critical in nature and are within the budget. So as it stands now, we don't have a 284 agreement, but I'll try to grab some time. I'll give Nick a call, and maybe Joe Ryan, the county highway supervisor or superintendent, and go around the town. Now, I think we earmarked or appropriated some dollars in our budget this year to address a couple of roads. So I guess I'm looking for the town board for recommendations here on next steps.
Next steps for, I think we should touch base with Nick, see what, you know, he has. Maybe he's not able to be here tonight, obviously, but you know, find out what projects that are needed to be done, and then we'd have to go from there, right? Is that what you're looking for, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one start, and then the other start is, I mean, if we're gonna get on a schedule to get, like, Princetown Plaza needs to be, for lack of a better highway technical term, resurfaced. Willow Run, Shagbark, and I think there's some culvert work that's gotta be done on Rooter Drive. Some basins have gotta be cleaned out. And then the question comes to the board is, how do we want to fund them? So, I think if you guys remember, we talked about possibly taking a loan out to pay for some highway. I think it's about a 1% loan.
Well, depending on the term, but these days, when you're doing short-term bond anticipation notes, most municipalities are selling those notes at about 1% interest rate. If you go for a one-year term, you're somewhere just under 1%. You go for a two-year term, might be a little bit higher than that. And then you can look at your payoff schedule or roll those notes over. You can roll them over. It's go out as far as 5 years before you have to either pay them off or go to bonds if you needed to go that way.
I want to highlight to the residents of the town, you know, we've put aside about 100,000. I mean, we've been saving our money here for the last 3 years. So the question becomes, do we just write the check and spend the money and don't take a loan, or do we keep the money and try to fund it by a loan? I mean, we'd always have the money to pay it. For me, the question becomes, because I think we got like 100,000, that's not gonna cover all 4 roads, it just won't. I think for 3 roads, the price is 150,000. So the question in my mind to the board would be, do we take a loan and get all 4 roads resurfaced or refinished or repaired, whatever has to be done, you know, pay what we can? Or do we think the roads will last another year and again, continue to save? Like, but I don't think Princetown Plaza, by the looks of it, is pretty rough. It's already breaking up pretty good. I haven't been up to Willow Run since last fall, but that was patched pretty good. Not that it looks pretty, but it was pretty solid. But Doug, what do you think? You're kind of a highway guy.
Trouble is, you keep letting it go, and it's gonna cost you more money in the end.
So what's your?
That's the way it works.
Yeah, like anything.
The more they get broke up, then you end up ripping it all.
Joe, you thought?
Well, seems to me, capital improvement means you gotta take care of this stuff, right? I think getting a low interest loan is the way to go, get the job done.
Mr. Luke, oh, sorry.
Right, I say, get them all done at the same time and use up the money we have and borrow the rest.
I'm inclined to agree. Bob?
Yeah, as long as we don't get caught out there with, you know, I mean, I'm just looking at if we were to repair our roads, which are definitely needed, you know, and then we're paying on the loan, and then in the meantime, we have other roads that are needing, you know, as long as we just don't get behind, you know, behind the 8 ball, you know, as far as getting. But no, I'm all for getting them fixed, and I think we ought to use what funding we have, and then, you know, each year on the budget, we usually budget, you know, another percent put towards our roads, so.
Percent being?
Well, we've done like, you know, 50, 60, 70,000. You know, each year we try to, you know, appropriate money in the fund for that.
Okay.
You know, as long as we keep doing that and don't get behind as far as a lot of loans.
I think if you have to skip a road, I would think it would be the Princetown Plaza here. It's more important for the residents to have their roads repaired and just patch this out here. I think you can get by another year without, we don't have that much traffic on this Princetown Plaza.
So guys running over a gazebo?
They can't do it now, those barricades up there, but
So it's okay with you guys. I will call Nick, but I'll also make an arrangement to meet with Joe and or Mike Francis over the supervisor for the local area and start putting together some estimates. And take a ride around town. I mean, it's only Overlook Lane, the Willow Run area and Rooter Drive, basically. Okay. All right. George, well, any questions for Highway, by the way? Okay.
Well, we had one major leak on Sunday night, Councilman Meyer's house. We tried to flood his basement out. Didn't get much water, did you, Bob?
Yeah, it was coming for a while.
Did it get up very high in there or not?
Yeah, just, you know, give or take, it stayed ahead of it.
think about 50,000 went through there.
I don't think they got that much.
I don't think so either, most of them went down the road. We had our Schenectady County annual sanitary survey of the water district. Everything passed there. I gave you all copies of the consumer confidence report called the annual report of the water system. That'll be all going out to the residents in the next few weeks. We'll be mailing those out to everybody. You also have copies there of all the testing we've done this year. The last 5 or 6 years, that was all paid for by the EPA to the state, and they paid it. Now, that is a program that has been dropped, so the town had to pay all that testing this year.
Just keep pushing it down to us, right?
Well, they used to give, once a year, you get a free training day, you get about 30-year contact hours, and it's like $2,000 total. And EPA no longer funds for small systems. And if you notice on there, something when we send out the annual report to everybody, anything above 20 micrograms per liter on sodium content, people on a restricted sodium diet should not drink our water. Our water is at 65. That's about the same as A1, affordable, anybody else in that aquifer. It's got a very high sodium content. So if you're on a very restricted sodium diet, you should not drink the town water.
So you send out a note and
That's included on the report.
highlight it a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. We should probably highlight it.
Is there a way to get the sodium level down?
It's, yeah, you make the aquifer sunlight,
Make it what?
have sunlight in the aquifer. Anybody with a well is gonna have a high sodium content. Just, the sodium just does not dissipate out. That's why people like to lance it with a reservoir. You get the sun onto it, it takes the sodium right out, takes the salts out. But if you have a well with all the rocks and geology down there, and most of the time you do have a high sodium content. But I know like A1 there, he's been the last few years saying how his is going up. And ours was at 50 several years ago, back in 2007, now it's at 65. But a lot of that is, they say roads, last couple of years we've had a lot of icing on the roads. So you see a lot of salt going on the roads, going into Normansville. We don't salt our parking lot. So,
Does it reach a stage where it has to be treated?
you probably can treat it, but
No, I mean, the health department is like, 92 grams, you gotta start treating it.
there's no maximum contaminant level onto it.
Any, I know you got your normal summer projects, but anything, you wanna share?
Well, hopefully we can just do some bolt change outs and saddle band change out. Instead of like I had the last, that night in front of Bob's house, we were talking there, like I had our last 20 breaks, 16 of them just holes in the pipes, and only 4 of them have been corrosion issue.
Good deal. All right, anything for George?
Thanks, George.
Thank you, sir. Town planner, no report. Code enforcement. All right, so we should probably go on the record and say we haven't seen a code enforcement officer in about 4 months. All right, justice. So 2 items here, folks, from town board and residents. We talked last week about or last month, the court had gotten a grant for $2,000, and we had a proposal out. So we've got 3 proposals now, and we'll go to resolution on this, but I just thought I'd give I think they're on the table there. But we got one for $2,629, so after the grant of $2,000, that would be $629 for security cameras in Town Hall. So I'll be anxiously awaiting the passage of that resolution. One of the other items on the agenda tonight is we're going to be hiring the planning board secretary. And we also sent out, as Bob had noted last month, in an article or an advertisement in the Gazette, that we're going to be looking for a town court clerk. For a couple reasons. One, for backup in case of sickness or et cetera. And second is, we've gotten notification from the New York State Court that we have a serious backlog of issues that need to be addressed fairly quickly. So this is above and beyond what we typically scheduled and allotted, or appropriated, or budgeted the single town clerk for, not town clerk, sorry, court clerk. So I'm going to ask the board to do, and we're going to set up a series of interviews, go ahead and hire, based on this additional workload and also as a backup, that we pick up or hire an additional town court clerk to work specifically on these 4,500 issues or tickets we need to backlog and back research. So I'll be asking the town board to consider that and to go ahead with it's in the budget, so it's not like we're going to be reaching for additional monies from the residents of the town, but it is work that has to be completed fairly quickly. Not fairly quickly, but aggressively anyway. So that's the update on the courts. Any questions for the court? Dog control. How's your puppy training doing?
Well, they grade on a curve, that's how he graduated.
What?
They grade on a curve, so he was able to graduate. He's 5.5 months, and I've never really trained my last one all that well, but he's doing it.
Good, good.
But, I wasn't here last month, but since my last report, I made, I think, fairly good strides in following up with delinquent dog licenses. Ms. Fortune and I have been talking a fair amount in the last few weeks. I've had 2 instances where I've had to follow up with the health department with dog bites. After a dog bite, either a dog on another dog or a dog on a human, depending on the situation, but typically the health department quarantines the dog at home for 10 days. So they ask that I go out and just check on the health and welfare of the dog, make sure everybody's okay, which closes out their case and keeps them from having to go out and do field visits. And in addition to that, I did have one serious dog incident, dog on dog and human. It was kind of ugly, but I reported that case also to the health department. Sadly, the 2 dogs that were involved were deceased. But there was one human trying to break up the fight, and didn't end well for her either. It's April, it's warm now, sort of, and the dogs are out. Everybody's let their dogs out, the windows are open, everybody's out, but nobody remembers to let the dog in. So the dogs are out running, especially if you have a hound. The hounds are out and they're very naughty, and they don't like to come home. So I've been picking up a lot of them lately, but no one's really calling me looking for them, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if people think that maybe he'll just come home, or or maybe they were ill, or maybe they got taken by another animal, I have no idea. But if your dog is missing, please call me. I may know of someone who in the area has picked one up. I could tell you if one has been brought to the shelter. I could help you with some information about how to find them, how to search, and that kind of thing. So there's a variety of resources available, not just to pick up a stray dog, but if you're missing yours as well. And make sure when your dog is out there, when he leaves the house, just like your kid, you have your phone, all right, you've got a collar. If you can, put contact information on the collar, whether it's embroidered on the collar or if at least there's something on there. But New York State also requires that the rabies tag and the license ID tag be on the collar when that dog leaves the premises. So no matter where that dog is found off the premises, that it can be identified, and that's required. But that also helps us get your dog home. All the ones that I end up seeing never had anything on them. And just two last quick things. Upcoming rabies clinics for those who like to plan ahead. We have one on June 13th at Central Park in the pavilion. Cats from 10 to 11, dogs from 11 to 12. And if you missed that one, or you're not quite ready yet, your dog's not ready for one until maybe July, the next one after that is August 8th at the Glenville Senior Center. Again, the same times, 10 to 11 for cats, 11 to 12 for dogs. The cost, there is no cost for county residents. It's a no-brainer. If you need it done, bring them in. And that's all I have.
It's the season for fleas too, right? So just a reminder to everybody, it's
Yes.
the time.
Check with your veterinarian.
Yeah. They're jumping now.
Mhm.
How many, is there a lot of cases of rabies?
I haven't heard of any confirmed cases yet this year, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before that we had several of them up in Delancey, up towards Montgomery County, in Sage Hill, up in that area. We had one dog quarantined for 6 months in his house. And of all the people in the house, only one person had pre-exposure vaccine, and that was the only person who could take care of that dog for 6 months.
Wow.
So please, 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 because the dog had not been vaccinated. So,
Are there any microchipping programs that can be done for the community?
that's a very good question. And you know what? I'm going to find out for you. So I'm going to come back there and report on that next month, because you're not the first person that's asked me that, and I did not find the answer the last time. It's been some time since I had been to a clinic that did that, but I don't get involved.
I know there's a lot of clinics that do it. I previously worked at one for 30 years. I know that the shelters do one, so you might be able to contact a shelter and get some type of offset on it and run a program so that that it could be an affordable thing.
Right. I highly recommend it, but yes, I will look into that for you.
And my final question is, I have received kudos for you for those 2 dog attacks or whatever the dog incidences. So I got a couple calls saying you did a great job on it. So
Okay, thanks.
thank you very much. Doug, Joe?
Oh, thank you, Darrell.
Oh, thank you, Darrell. Thanks, Darrell. All right, so that takes care of, I think, business. We're gonna open up privileges of the floor. And read the rules. At every regularly scheduled town board meeting, the public shall have the right to address the town board during that portion of the meeting to be referred to as privileges of the floor, which shall take place after the reports of the town departments and the supervisor. Members of the public wishing to speak during privileges of the floor may sign a sheet before the commencement of the town board meeting indicating his or her name, address, and proposed topic. Signing the sheet will dictate the order in which persons are recognized to speak and will assure the town clerk has the correct spelling of their names and addresses for the minutes. Members of the public are to restrict their comments to items of town business and to observe proper decorum while addressing the town board. Persons who become unruly, who use inappropriate language, or persist in speaking on items not related to town business may be ruled out of order. Although there is no official time constraint and speakers may address one or more items in their comments, they should be considerate of others and try to limit the remarks to no more than 5 minutes so that all interested members of the public will have an opportunity to be heard. So we'll open up the privilege of the floor at 7:40.
Linda Parker Gusick, I reside at Skyline Drive, and I am curious as to what the holdup with the newsletter is with regard to the fact that I am treasurer with the Civic and Historic Committee, and we are trying to plan on putting on a townwide garage sale in May, the 16th of May. And we have our application that is in the newsletter that we'd like to send out to the residents. And that is time sensitive as far as a deadline that we set on that for being the 18th of April. And so that means, I believe, this Saturday, Friday or Saturday, this weekend. So I'm just a little concerned about why this has not come out yet. Unfortunately, there are a lot of our town residents that, do not view our website with regards to maybe not having a computer at home and cannot access that, so they could not get that application off the website. So the newsletter is kind of one great way to get that newsletter out to the residents. So I was just curious as to when that will be getting out and how that's going to affect our garage sale.
It should have went to the printer today,
Okay.
but I need to confirm that. I don't know that for a fact. I think it has, or maybe we're not yesterday. I gotta confirm, Linda, but I think it's at the printers. So 36, 48 hour turnaround, we should have it back Thursday. So Thursday night, we'll probably looking for volunteers.
Yep, I'll be there.
We'll be folding newsletters and maybe having some pizza Thursday night, so everybody's looking to help. And
Great, I can get the word out to some of my members in the committee because I know they'd be interested in coming to help, so we can get that out in a timely fashion.
That'd be spectacular.
Okay,
Here at the town hall.
I'll put it up.
thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Paul, 1282, 1288 Pembroke Road. Just wondering what the update on the zone change was, a petition that was presented to you people last week, or last month, pardon me, and how it was progressing.
So the ZRC met Tuesday this week, I think, was it Tuesday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Before last.
To address it. I was here, but, I was doing my own work, so I wasn't necessarily fully paying attention to it.
Yeah, I'll address that. We thought you were going to be there at the meeting, but I understand you had a bowling banquet. And we did make a site visit to members of the committee, DRC, who were there. And we understood, again, without your direct input, we understood you wanted to go to a C2 zone for your property. Is that right?
It was a petition for the industrial zone,
Yeah.
because it would be the best place for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
well-
with the power lines and the railroad tracks, border
The
area.
problem in terms of truck traffic is that you're on the far side of the two highway overpasses, which most trucks can't get under. And the only other access is down Pangburn Road, which is not a great road for semis and is a residential neighborhood. So we were prepared to recommend to the board that certainly it not be rezoned as a C2. or anything that would increase truck traffic to the boundary.
It's already going on now. It's been going on for over a decade.
Yeah, if,
I mean, it's gone on before I owned the property. It's going to be going on till I'm far gone and we're all gone. It's still gonna be done as a commercial piece of property.
yeah.
So we can't say, no, you can't do that.
It is a commercial piece of property, but my understanding, and again, you wanted to tell us, my understanding was you wanted it rezoned from C1 to C2. And the recommendation of our committee would be that it not be rezoned to C2. Again, if it was different than what you wanted, I sure wish you had been there. But in any case, we did look at the possibility of rezoning it from C1 to C2. And all the members of the committee who were here, or 4 of us, thought that was a bad idea.
Just a question, Bob, were you looking at it in rezone to industrial or to C2?
With the uses that are going on there right now, the industrial would work. Also, that is a warehouse complex. And with the zoning the way it is today, you cannot store a warehouse in a warehouse complex. All businesses store, all businesses have inventory. They've got to be able to store a warehouse. So basically, what you're saying is that the property is abused. Because if you can't store in a warehouse complex, every building was built as a warehouse. All the permits are here in town. I've got receipts of all of them being built as warehouses from way back in the 70s. I've been told I cannot warehouse or store on that property because the zoning will not allow it. So how do you fix that?
Well, could I just ask a question? Is there a big difference between C1 and C2, and what might the differences be? And there's only 1 or 2 differences, is there not?
Yeah, including truck terminals, I believe. Again, I wish we had someone from the planning board here.
But I mean, I think warehousing is one of the differences between C1 and C2, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct?
You could be correct, I don't know, I haven't seen it.
With a special use permit.
With a special use permit, right?
C2, you additionally have light industrial uses, warehousing and storage, scrap yards, and adult uses.
That's industrial.
Actually, right, sure, that's industrial, because his petition was to change it to industrial.
That would permit then.
Right.
The only
C2
difference
does
between-
have, C2 with a special use permit has the light industrial, warehousing, and scrap yards.
Yeah, as far as I know, the only difference between C2 and industrial is adult uses, am I correct?
Right.
Yeah, so is that what you want to do there?
Well, the difference between C1 and C2 and industrial
Yeah, well-
is you can, in C2 and industrial, with a special use permit, you can warehouse and store.
Yeah.
With a C1, which I have now, you cannot.
Well, can we put industrial off the table, or are you looking to do adult entertainment in that property?
Well,
I mean, I'm
it's
just asking.
basically light commercial that's in there, which if the zoning is taken care of, okay, the businesses are in there, we have manufacturing in there, we have storage in there, we have a variety of everything that's in the Northeastern Industrial Park right here
I understand
in
that,
there,
but I keep saying
okay,
industrial.
but it's all limited, and we really limited, the zoning that's in this town, okay, is very vague, and you know that. It's very big. When you can have a lumber yard in there, okay, which is storage, okay, and warehousing. But yet you can't do storage and warehouse in a warehouse. I mean,
Again,
I don't understand the analogy of why you can't in a warehouse do storage and,
Yeah, we weren't addressing the issue
Oh.
of storage, because again.
well, that's the issue that has to be addressed.
Well, it would have been useful to have your input, but what we were asked to do was to discuss the question of whether it should be changed from C1 to C2.
C1 doesn't.
So we discussed
Well,
that.
we already went through this because we already went to planning already approved it,
Okay.
the zone change. Because you guys sent me to planning and that was all done, and we've got the minutes of that too.
Well, then
back
it's
when you
town
tabled
board.
it, back when you tabled it 3 years ago, because we didn't have a comprehensive plan, okay? You said go to planning. Planning approved it, okay? You guys got the stuff back from planning, it was tabled, because we didn't have a comprehensive plan.
So Mike, can we hold a public hearing on it and vote on it then?
So, wait a second, slow down. So, how long have you had the property? And actually, so what is your
How long have I
address?
had the property?
What is your address, your home address?
Was my home address?
Right.
It's 7081 Chandler Road,
In the town of,
Gilmore.
when you bought the property, was that railroad tracks there, was the bridge there?
Yeah. And I
So
was
the
also
biggest-
told.
So the biggest restriction of that property is that bridge.
Well, actually, you can get a 12.6 truck underneath that bridge.
Wait a second on all of this. If the county, if that road is not posted, then any truck can go on it that can fit under that underpass. You can't say that. If the road is not
Pepsi
posted,
and Coke trucks have
I
been
agree.
going
if the road
out.
is not posted, it doesn't matter. If the other end of the road is not posted, that's not a valid point. Trucks navigating that road. If the county wants to post that road, it's up to them. It's not up to the town to say that trucks can't go on that road. It's not up to us to say that. It's up to the county to say that, and that's a county road. If it was a state road, it would be up to the state. If it's a US highway, it would be up to the federal government to say it. It's not up to us to tell them that we can't do that. We can do it on town roads. We can't do it on county roads or state highways or US highways or interstates. So that's not a valid point, that you can't run a truck on that road. That's just not a
Because
valid
it's already
point.
going on. It already goes on.
The
You
other
get
thing-
deliveries
So
on
I don't
there
think
all the
anybody
time.
said, don't run a truck on the road, I just asked about the bridge.
Well, what we're saying is if it's, if there's a truck,
So-
it's too high, it will come around. Otherwise, most of the 90% of the traffic goes underneath the bridge. If it's a truck that's 13.6, it's gonna go around.
Yeah.
Now, we've had UPS and tractor trailers come in there. I mean, we had a vending company that was in there, you know? And they had Coke and Pepsi trucks in their tractor trailers, you know, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, we're very aware of the posting that you mentioned, and we weren't saying that it's not possible or legal, simply saying it's not desirable to the
It
neighborhood.
doesn't matter. It
I
doesn't
understand,
matter.
but you want to recommend.
And that, the
If
other end of that
purpose-
road is not even our road.
Yes.
That's in the town of Rotterdam.
Yes.
It's not our
If
road
the
anyway.
pure-
It's
if
not
the-
even, if the town of Rotterdam talks to the county and they want to post that end of the road, that's fine. That's up to them to do that. It's not up to us to say what trucks can go up and down that road.
Yeah, I
It's
want.
not up to the town to say that, whether it's conducive or not for them to run that road. I've been down this road 1,000 times with this kind of thing. It's not up to us. If that road is not posted, anybody can run it with any kind of weight that they want on it.
Yeah. And Lou, if you only wanted a recommendation as to whether we recommended that it be changed to a C2 as a zoning review committee, if you just wanted a recommendation as to whether it should be changed from a C1 to a C2, we recommend against it. That's it.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with posting roads.
Thank you.
I personally think that it should be brought up to a public hearing, and just what Lou said, that, you know, I mean, some movement has to happen with this. I mean, I don't understand, you know, when I bought the property, I was allowed to bring Princetown Auto Body in there with a special use, okay? It's definitely light industrial. I was allowed to put my oil company in there with a special use, okay? Advantage Garbage was in there, okay? We had clinical encapsulation, and custom-made vitamin capsules. They're manufacturing. They have a company that x-rays welds in there. You know, so the usage are there, and it's always been in the usage of the town, the uses are just, they really need to be looked at. That's what you guys should be looking at, is the usage. You know, and saying, why can't you warehouse in a warehouse? I'd just like somebody to just answer that for me. Why can't you warehouse in a warehouse that was built, approved, everything else? And the warehouse, the 10,000 square feet warehouse that I put up, the planning board was like, wow, great, we'd like it to be 100,000 square feet. I put it up, oh, you can't warehouse in that. So where'd it leave me? That's why I'm here with the town board. You guys gotta fix it. You know, it's always gonna be there. Well, where it all going? It'll still be there. Somebody else will be using it for warehouses.
Mike, what's the next step?
Well, it depends on, you know, what you want to do. In our code, it says you refer to the planning board. The planning board makes a recommendation to the town board. The town board is inclined to make a zoning amendment, then there's different types of amendments. You could amend what's a permitted use in a C1 district, you know, under the special uses in C1. Here, looking at the zoning map, there's no other industrial property around that property, so that generally would not be advisable, because that would be considered, the pure example, spot zoning.
No, it wouldn't, because of the acreage. Acreage is different, it would not be spot zoning because of the acreage. Spot
Yeah, one
zoning is
property
a
owner-
smaller acreage.
When you choose one parcel and put it in the middle of differently zoned properties, when that is going up 2 steps in intensity of use, that's the definition of spot zoning. So, so there's different ways that you change the text in the C1. You could consider changing it to C2 and doing something with the C2. C2 allows for warehousing and storage with a special use permit.
So does he have to go to the planning board first for this?
Well, typically, that's, I mean, it's not just typically, it's in the zoning law that we have. And when there's a request made to the town board, because the planning board is supposed to be the experts on zoning issues, they make a recommendation, but that's not a binding recommendation on the board. The board does solicit their, you know, advice, and then the board determines whether you want to make a change to the zoning law.
Does he have to go back to the planning board now?
No, this is just, he's made this, he's petitioned you, he's petitioned the town board. So it's the town board that then says, you know, we want the planning board to weigh in on this. He can appear before the planning board and make whatever arguments that he wants when they consider it, but otherwise they'll just, you know, review it and report back to the town board.
That's been done, though. It's been done. It has been done with the prior petition. It's been done on the prior petition because it was tabled by the town board. There's records, there's minutes, we can dig them out.
Okay, because what I have on your properties are all the special use applications that were approved in prior years.
There's two special use permits.
Right.
Correct.
I got them right here.
But there is,
But that's-
I went to planning when we petitioned the town board 3 years ago, planning approved it. And they sent the recommendation back to the planning board.
They approved special use permits.
No, they approved the zone change. I went there for the zone change. It's in the minutes.
Okay.
I mean, we can dig them out.
What year was that?
What year was that? Just before we did before you guys did the comprehensive plan. Because it was tabled and they couldn't vote on it. The town board couldn't vote on it because we didn't have a comprehensive plan.
I've got the records from 2012 and 2013. I assume that's, these all relate to the special use permits?
We went to planning. It's in the records. I know, I've already got the records. Carol McLean got the records for me way back then. So I had a copy of it.
Can you present them?
I mean, we can-
I can't present them now, but I can present them.
So other
The
than
question-
public hearing, what would be the process
Well,
then as
the
far as
thing is,
changing
we
the
generally
wording?
refer to the planning board. So someone would come up with the text, the language of the amendment that you're interested in making. Normally, that's the town planner, but we don't have a town planner. So,
It was all done through Gino, and Gino was there. It was all done. Gino was the one, and the attorney for the town board many years ago told me to do it, and told me to get the special use permits.
okay, so that is not.
The additional, no, wait a minute, no, let's take you back to the original special use permit. That wasn't done by them. I actually spent money on engineering and everything else for planning for the zone change. ABD Engineering did all the engineering for the zone change.
So that's earlier. That's going back a few more.
No, it
years.
was just before the comprehensive plan. Because we petitioned the town board said, you gotta go to planning, just what you're saying, gotta go, we gotta get approved from planning. We wanna see what they have to say. We went, we spent all the money with all the engineering and everything else, they said yes.
So what I was asking is, what does the town board have to do as far as making an actual verbiage change in C1 to make that allowable?
Well-
Or that public hearing?
I think you could refer to the planning board, ask the attorney for the planning board to, depending on which way you want to go, whether you want to make a change to special uses under C1, or if you want to change rezone his property to C2, those are what I see as the two options. And, then they, in the case of rezoning, that amendment is an amendment to the zoning map. And in the case of a change.
I actually paid for a permit for that too.
What you can do in C1, that's a text change. But in either case, they come back with that language, and that then becomes the basis for local law, or the public hearing on the local law. Everybody gets an opportunity to have their input on it, and after the public hearing, after at least some town board review, if you're gonna be the lead agency for seeker purposes, make your seeker findings, and you can adopt the local law that amends the zoning law.
Mike, does he have to go to the planning board again? That's the question I asked. Does he have to do this, or does the town board have to do this?
No, it's the town board that's making the referral back to the planning board.
Do we need a resolution for that?
You can just refer it, you can just direct the clerk to refer the petition.
So even though I could
As
produce this
petition.
stuff, I'd have to still go back?
I would assume anything you got, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew that was mandatory, I would have brought it tonight. I mean, it's in the town's meeting, it's in the minutes for the town. It's here, somebody just gotta look it up. I mean, Tim Marciniak would know about it, he'd know where it was too. So would Gino Santa Barbara.
We'll look into it. We will.
So you can't do like a public hearing and get this thing rolling here if I can produce all this stuff? That's my question. I don't see why you can't do a public
You
hearing.
have to have something to hold the public hearing on.
You petitioned, we petitioned you, that's why. And my attorney's a zoning attorney, if you wanna really talk to her, Mike, you could very well talk to Mary Beth Levin
I
and, you
know
know.
her well.
Okay, well, maybe a call, maybe I could have her give you a call, and she could let you know what's going on.
So your attorney's already talked to Jeff Baker, I'm sure she could call Jeff Baker directly.
Baker?
Jeff Baker is the planning board attorney for it. You know that. So, because your attorney called last time, going through your questions, so I would suggest that your attorney, and I can give you,
I mean, Mike, you actually said, we'll get this done as soon as the comprehensive plan's done. You told my attorney and I, we'll get this zone change done.
so I also advise your attorney to call Jeff Baker, which again is what it sounds like we should
Why, I
start.
want to really know what the difference is here, you know? I mean, you promised, you said, oh, as soon as we get this comprehensive plan, we'll get this done. So what's changed here? Can you really tell me?
So nothing's changed. The process is.
I mean, it's in your minutes, we can pull a video up, are you saying?
So, Bob, if you're gonna interrupt, that's great, so stop talking. I think we've given you a bunch of options here. Everybody wants to help as much as we can, but I think it sounds like a process thing. I think, I would suggest that your attorney call Jeff Baker. That'd be my first step. Second, get your paperwork. I'm fine with, in support of the board, I'm assuming, is we give it to the town clerk, the town clerk refers it to the planning board starts their process. That's all I know, That's my suggestion. I could be wrong, I don't know, maybe Lou's got a better idea, I don't know. That's the way I understood it. If that's the process, then that's the process. You solicited and requested input from the ZRC. The ZRC met last Thursday. They went and visited your property. The ZRC's made their recommendation. So the next step, again, I'd suggest that we coordinate a discussion with Jeff Baker and your attorney. Now, I know your attorney's called and know that.
Yeah, to get my special use permit that I have.
Which you got every single time.
No, I did not, it's still not signed.
So you gotta have all your, you got all your paperwork that this.
I do have it, though.
Then,
It's in the town minutes.
then it would be advantageous to get it to us and.
I wish Carol McLean was here. She could tell you, she was with me when we
Bob,
got
I
the
believe
minutes.
you, but again, as Mr. Esposito indicated, I think the paperwork's gonna help greatly. I really do.
So then, where are we then? So then I'm going back to planning for the next planning board meeting?
I'm not an attorney, so, but
Why
I
would you suggest, Mike, let's get a thing here.
So we gotta get this rolling.
right in the zoning.
It's not.
10.4 regarding amendments to the zoning law, so that town, A is town board has the power to amend. B is referral to the planning board. Each proposal, amendment or change, whether initiated by the town board or by petition, shall be referred to the planning board.
Even though he had approval, he claims he has the approval?
He just filed this petition.
No,
At,
the other petition. The other petition that was done before the comprehensive plan. Let's go through the steps here. Before the comprehensive plan, we petitioned the town board for the zone change.
but that's not before us right now. What we have right now is the petition you handed in at the last town board meeting.
Right, because nothing was gonna happen because, okay, I've been every year here asking where this is going, and all I'm getting is a runaround, okay? So we re-petitioned you, okay? It shouldn't take two petitions, but we re-petitioned it, okay? But the old petition, it went to planning, okay? Because they asked, did exactly what you're saying. There's record of it.
So, can you walk through the steps, Mike, real quick? Just to get it move on.
All right, so an applicant can petition, which he has, the town board refers it to the planning board, then asks for a report and recommendation by the planning board prior to any public hearing that the town board can have. They have to state their reasons, whatever they are, for whatever their recommendation is gonna be. And then it comes back to the town board, and the town board has, puts up the amendment in the form of local law. We hold a public hearing, and that has to be on 10 days' notice. And we hold the public hearing. After the public hearing, the town board's free to vote on the amendment.
Well, this can happen fairly quickly then with the next planning board meeting.
Yeah, the planning board can take it up, and they could get.
All right, now, if we can produce the stuff that we've been now, okay? Can we save that step? That's my question. Why is this being redundant here? There's a paper trail. If the paper trail shows we've been there, why do we have to do that?
I would think if you had that paperwork and you went to the planning board, you would have a clear.
I mean, probably do it in a phone call. I mean, if Carol McLean was there, you could do it in a phone call. And Carol would say, yeah, you went to planning. She was the one that dug out the paperwork with me.
But even what you submitted at the last meeting, it makes no reference whatsoever to a prior application. If it said that, maybe then we would have looked it up to see that there was a prior application and what the date of the prior.
But everybody on this board knows it was a prior
Bob,
application.
Bob, I think, all due respect to the rest of the residents, we gotta start moving on. I think
Well, I want to, we gotta know where we're going. Like, you just can't throw it off your shoulder
I'm
and
not throwing off
say,
my shoulder, Bob.
well, you're not giving me an answer of what's going on here. You're not doing a thing.
Petition the planning board.
What's that?
But no, we refer it to the planning.
Okay.
But, so that's gonna happen. If they've already decided it, then they'll tell us that.
That's if you have the paperwork for it, then it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, it is a no-brainer. That's why it's just like, it seems like it's just a stall.
It's not a stall. Do you have the paperwork here? No.
It's in this town hall.
Bob, I gotta move on.
All right, we're going to planning.
Additional comments? Closing privileges at 8:13. All right. Quick update from the town council, anything in the action register? Doug?
No.
Joe?
No, Mike.
Lou?
We're talking about the things that are being done around the town hall or the state police barracks in this.
I actually,
As I can.
well, I was gonna
I'd like to
do,
get it over with right now, so we can move on.
I actually, just so for the official, I did close that action out, but then I opened up a new action for 2015, so I did close out 2014, I think we talked about that last time. So, yeah, if you want to go for the state police, that's cool.
I've been soliciting bids for the, to do the roof, the remainder of the roof with new gutters and, ice barrier. And I've got 2 estimates in, one came in, and they even offered to, I was kind of surprised, offered to re-insulate the garage and the walls at no cost to the town. They have to be compared with what the other estimate was. I was kind of surprised that he was gonna throw that in. I got one more that's supposed to be coming in Thursday. He said he would have it, and he didn't have it ready. He called me today about 4 o'clock and said it wasn't ready yet, but he would be sending it to me. So at the next meeting, we can discuss the estimates. I went to, pardon, I don't have them with me because I didn't get the other estimate. Oh, yes, yes.
Very helpful.
Oh, no, I'll have all the estimates for everybody. I did go talk with Sergeant Matei about what he wanted done with the garage. We corrected the problem with the water in there, as you know. No problem with that. He does not want a heater in the second garage because they only use it for storage. So I priced out a heater for the main garage, and I went to talk with Mike about it. I went to Granger, who we buy all our parts with. It's state contract. So from what he tells me, I don't need 3 estimates, am I correct, Mike?
If it's on a state contract.
It's on a state contract.
Buy it off the state contract.
So I do have the estimates for it. I gave the dimensions to Granger, stopped over there myself, went over, and they recommended a 50,000 BTU. I decided, I thought maybe we should have one a little bit larger. So I asked for a 75,000 BTU. And what we're gonna do to save the town some money, which will save a lot of money, Doug has offered his lift truck, his tractor with forks on it, and we can use a pallet. The gas line is there because there used to be a heater in it. The flue is already up there. So Doug and I, and probably Bob, if he wants to, if we can get it on a Saturday, we're gonna install it. We're gonna get some help from Nick to do it. They've already offered their help to do it, so we can save the money on that.
So, just so, I got it, it's like putting people up on a forklift. It's kind of scary. And it's a pass-through, yeah, it is. And it's a pass-through, why wouldn't we just put it in, get it certified for insurance reasons, for all the above, and just.
Well, it'll be inspected. I'm just gonna have somebody come over and inspect it, after we put it in. So it'll be certified. Why do we wanna spend the money if we've got the labor to do it? Why would we wanna spend that?
Because we're not spending it, it's gonna be passed through.
That's not gonna be passed through.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't it?
That's part of our budget for this year.
So, I think you're taking a pretty big risk.
Well, I don't see any problem with it, but we'll save the town some money on this and get it done, just as we're gonna do with the fence. I thought the same thing. We're gonna be putting up a fence there. That's under state contract. We can get the fencing, and like I said, Doug has offered to bring his backhoe over and dig it and put the fence in and save the town some money.
Is this for heating, the state police fair?
No, heating the garage.
Just the garage,
Just the garage.
75,000 BTUs,
Yes.
just for the garage?
They said 50,000.
That's a lot of BTUs.
I know, I thought maybe to go a little bit higher, because, they come in there, when they bring in a vehicle that's gotta be tore down, they like to do it right away, and they want to heat up right away. They're not gonna heat it all the time. So I'm thinking, so that they don't
should
have
pay
a
for
problem.
it. If they want to have that luxury, they should pay for it.
Well,
I mean, that's excessive for a garage, but come on. It's my opinion.
well, that's what, they recommended 50,000. I just thought it would go a little bit higher. The 50,000 one was 500 and some bucks, so.
That's more than adequate.
So other than that, with the state police barracks, that's it. They're very happy over there with what's been going on, so.
Any questions for Lou?
And I've got one other thing for the town hall. We, last year, I sprayed around here to eradicate the weeds, and there was some controversy over this. I'm asking the town board if it's all right for me to go ahead and do this again. We have to get it done now to stop the crabgrass, or whatever kind of weed it is that starts up this time of year. And I'd like to know if it's all right to go ahead and do it. I did it on my own last year, and everybody was upset about it, or some people were upset about it, I should say. So I'm asking the town board if it's all right to do this.
Fine with me.
Is that, what's the time frame on that as far as being effective to?
Well, they do
is it
it, the
24
first one
hours?
is that, I don't know what the weed is, not crabgrass or something, I forgot what the weed is that comes up this time of year. If you don't do it now, before it comes up, it doesn't kill it.
No, I mean, the time,
Well, it has to be done in the spring of the year.
no, but I mean, as far as spraying, is that, once it's sprayed, how potent and effective to people is it for
Oh, they say
24
you
hours?
can, no, they said 2 days,
2 days?
yeah.
So if it was sprayed when there was not traffic here at the town hall,
Yeah, they do it on the weekend, I had them do it on the weekend last time.
Anything else, Lou?
That's it, I mean, you gotta have an answer here, because I wanna get going on this, we're gonna have a meeting for another month.
Well, I would like to see what they're actually putting down. What the hazards are, identified. And how soon, I know, you go by and you see these little posted, saying that this has been fertilized, blah, 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 not to walk on it. You know, and if your dog walks on it, your kids walk on it, I mean, we gotta know that this is a public place. So before I could even render a judgment, I'd like to know that stuff. So if we could get a copy.
Okay, it'll be another month, and that won't take care of the problem, but if that's what you wanna do, that's fine. I don't know if the rest want to.
But I don't, how much of a problem is it if we mow the lawn all the time? So we got a little bit of traffic. It's not a big deal. Hey,
Well, has anybody else got any comments there?
I agree with Joe and the objections from last year.
I'm okay either way. I mean, it's just, as long as it's not gonna affect anybody, I don't see any harm it does.
Well, I don't think that they would be putting stuff down that's gonna affect anybody, they do it all over, so.
that's what you think. But there's a lot of data out there that says it's bad stuff. So I'd just like to know what it is before we make a decision.
It can't be that hard for them to send over email what do you call it, a fact sheet.
Yeah, I can have them do that, but, is that what you guys wanna do? That's fine with me.
Yeah.
You put it off for another month?
Yeah.
Well, it may not be a month, but we can figure something out, but then we can at least give notice to the employees and
Okay.
if there's anybody, I don't know, if Sandy's got, people booked for weddings or events during the weeks too, so we can look at that too. So we can give them a fact sheet, that'd be cool. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
Bob?
Not really any update other than I realized I have not gotten any notification of these committees that we were supposed to be going to the meetings countywide, like for the UCC. We had wanted some of us to, as board members, to attend some of these meetings, and I've not gotten any notifications, so.
Well, Bob, first, it's in the organization, and it's been there for 3 years of what committees you're on, that you approved.
No, I know, but I haven't gotten notification as to when these meetings are being held. Usually when they have a meeting, they'll send out a letter or something that they're having a meeting, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they usually send them by email. Matter of fact, that's how they send them, is by email. All right. So I'll go through this real quick and then we'll do some more. Records management, we already talked about that. Escrow policy, so I did ask Vic Benson to dust that off. I think it's pretty critical that maybe we change how we do business when applicants approach the town board for review and applications, which I'm going to ask the town board now. So we haven't seen any invoicing. Have we, Sandy, from this first 3 months? So we haven't seen anything, despite requests to the planning board about invoices from the attorneys and the engineers. So for the residents, this is kind of cutting off our cash flow because we still have to pay the bills, but we're waiting for the cash to come in. We're not pre-billing, we're not overbilling, we're not doing anything, we're just waiting for it. So I've gone ahead and set up a call with Jeff Baker to hopefully address Jeff Baker's issues.
Which are,
Where's his bills? Where's his invoices? And why is it taking 4 months? I do a timesheet every Monday morning on work that I did the week before, with my time and bill. And I'm sure Mike does it every week. I'm sure Doug Cole does a timesheet every week, because everybody gets his billable time.
and we're only passing through what they're billing, correct?
Correct. The mailbox, I did notice this. Are you guys gonna have that on your agenda, things to do this week, or this month, or this summer anyway?
You want a mailbox where?
Well, I mean, that was half the controversy, right? We wanted to put it last year, so
We have a mailbox out there, I don't know where you want to be, a bigger mailbox out there?
Well,
Nobody uses it anyway, I don't know, but if you want a bigger one, we can put one out there.
well, I was gonna suggest we put it outside the door, by the corner of sidewalks, and they're the pretty heavy-duty ones, where even on Thursdays and Fridays, the US mail can still be dropped off, and then anybody who comes in and needs to do some work over the weekend could presume or read some email. But the biggest benefit, I think, would be to the town, especially during the tax season, if people can drop their mail off, you know, at 12 o'clock at night if they want. Use them in and drop it off, and then, so these, the one on the corner there is kind of a flimsy, you know, you can probably pick up a good secure mailbox.
Okay, it's done. Don't worry about it. Doug, can you bring your backhoe over and we'll take care of that? And we'll dig a little hole over there and put one in. I'll go get the post in the mailbox. I'll get it over to Ranger at state contract. Done.
They're on the website too, so you can get a high and a low. All right. I've gotten some of the petitions, so I'll write those letters to, about the speed limits. I'll get them out next month. All right, anything from me? All right.
Yeah. I understand that the tower, the communication tower fell down, broke. I just found out about this the other day. I got a call on it. They said that you knew about this a month or March, or you never communicated any of this to the town board.
So, I didn't know about it for a month. You live in the area where the service is affected.
No, my service is not.
Why is it?
So people on the north side, up in Overlook Lane, all the way up to Willow Run, all the way up on North Kelly, everybody's affected. So I got some calls last week, and I started looking into it. It's not in Princetown. It's in Duanesburg. See, Duanesburg, it's on Duanesburg land. I did my job. I mean, from my house.
Don't you think that you should communicate this? I mean, you took the time to talk to Duanesburg about it, you took the time to talk to the county about it, took the time to talk to George Amler's office about it in Clarksville,
Yeah.
but you didn't communicate it to the town board. I mean, this is something serious when somebody doesn't have 911 service.
It's 911.
911 service.
Mhm.
I'm just asking why it wasn't told to the town board.
I'm surprised you didn't know.
How would I know?
You're in the service area.
I'm not affected by it. My cell phone works fine.
So I'm not sure what your question is, Lou. You know,
Why didn't you tell the town board? I mean, it's just a legitimate question.
I think you're on distribution. Maybe you should check your emails, bud.
It's not on my email.
All right, well, I'll check my email distribution. But the good news is it's back up. Yep.
Now we know.
How do I know?
No, he said now they know, that's good.
No, that's good, because it was
Who's what?
No, just, you know, it wasn't good for people not to have the 911 access, so, no, I'm glad it's up. That's good.
Mhm.
But I didn't hear about it.
I don't know.
But that's good.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's up that soon. I didn't expect
yeah.
it to be that.
Now, let's just be clear too, it's just Verizon's up on the tower,
Yeah.
right? Not T-Mobile, not AT&T, just Verizon.
Yeah.
Their first one's up. All right, minutes approval. Do we have a motion that minutes are approved for March 10th special town board meeting? Actually, it's not a special town board meeting, it's a town board meeting. And then the April 11th special town board meeting are approved.
I haven't seen any minutes for the April 11th. So I would have to abstain or reject those.
So Sandy, the available yet?
Well, no, I haven't numbered them yet or anything with the resolution, and I did not get that far
We got
today.
it. Okay, so can we table we'll approve the 10th and table the 11th? Is that okay?
And now, just for clarification, on the 10th, that, the resolution, okay, to not extend the moratorium was passed. That's correct? We voted not to extend it.
Pretty sure.
Motion to extend.
Yeah, I was looking, but the wording was,
It failed.
okay, okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't actually see that. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the 10th, table the April 11th.
I'll second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike is yes. Minutes approval, the minutes for the April 4th special town board meeting are approved. Actually,
We didn't
No,
have
it should be
that.
full.
so do we vote on it, or does it really matter?
Well, we would still vote on it because it's what they call it, rule of necessity. All you did was open the meeting, find out there wasn't a quorum present, declare there's no quorum present, you can't do official business, and then adjourn. So that's what the minutes say.
So you need a motion?
I do.
I'll make it.
Second. That has to be me. I guess Lou, you're gonna abstain?
Yeah, I'm here.
Doug's abstaining. Joe?
Yes.
Bob abstain, and Mike's a yes. Town board meeting agendas. So, guys, I think it's time to put the agenda meetings back on the schedule. I'm not sure why we knocked them off, but I think there's too much work to be done. We're behind on a lot of stuff. Just my opinion. But I don't think we're doing a service, or, I think there's a lot of work that's being held up. And I don't think we're doing a service to the community by not meeting. So I'm asking the town board to reinstate the agenda meetings on the fourth Tuesday of every month.
Specifically, what would we be working on? And that's, I think, from the meeting prior to the agenda meeting, we should have something specific that we're gonna work on. We can't vote on anything then. And the agenda should be working on what the agenda is for the following meeting, if I understand it correctly.
Right, so if you read it, it says, report to the agenda and/or informational workshops.
Mhm.
Didn't we pass a resolution that said if there was a need for it, that we would,
Okay, so that's what you said, you shut them down. I'm asking you guys to reopen it. I just think there's enough work here to do. there's plenty of work. I mean,
Take a vote.
do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second? I'll second it. Doug?
Oh,
No? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
no. If you need an emergency meeting or something like that, fine. Get something that you really need, I think that's not a problem.
Lou?
No.
Josie, yes?
Yep.
Bob?
No. Only if it's something that.
So government is being shut down. Very interesting. All right, so 2000 State of the Town meeting. Be resolved that the town supervisor Mike Joyce will present a State of the Town address on Tuesday, June 16th at 2015 at 7 p.m. at 165 Princetown Plaza, Schenectady, New York, 12305. All members of the meeting, of the public are encouraged to attend. A question and answer period will follow. Town clerk Sandy Fortune will notify and publish the meeting with the Gazette as required. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Joyce, yes. Metroplex Development Authority advertisement. To be resolved that the town board of the town of Princetown authorizes Mike Joyce, town supervisor, to co-publish an advertisement in the Daily Gazette newspaper with the Dwaynesburg town supervisor Roger Tidball, seeking residents of either town who would be interested in serving on the Schenectady County Metroplex Development Authority Board, representing the towns and Princetown and Dwaynesburg. Both towns will split the cost of the advertisement. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Lou?
We already passed a resolution we wanted, but you want to do an advertisement for it, it's fine. Yes.
That's a yes. Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike's a yes. Planning Board Secretary. Be resolved, Nicole Moore be appointed secretary to the Planning Board at an hourly rate of $14.96 for a term to expire on 12/31/15.
So moved.
Second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
No.
Bob?
Yes.
Joyce is a no. Groundskeeper appointment. Be resolved that Harry Boulay be appointed groundskeeper to maintain the Princetown Town Hall and State Police Barracks for the 2015 summer season at a rate of $25 per hour with a maximum of $100 per cutting, term to expire on 12/31/15. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike's a yes. Contract with Town Hall Surveillance System. Whereas by Resolution 14-220, the Town Board authorized the Town Justice Norma Miller to apply for a Justice Court Assistance Program for a surveillance camera security system. And whereas by letter dated January 16th, 2015, the Administrative Judge for the 4th Judicial District, Vito Caruso, informed Justice Miller that the Princetown Town Court's grant was approved in the amount of $2,000. Whereas the full surveillance system for 5 cameras in and outside Town Hall, power supply, digital video recorder, monitoring, cabling, and labor is in the amount of $2,629 for the Center for Security as per his April 10th, 2015 proposal. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Princetown hereby authorizes Town Justice Miller to accept the JSIP grant, and be it further resolved, the town board authorizes the supervisor to enter into contract with the Center for Security in the amount of $2,629 for the above described town hall video surveillance system with a balance of $629 after the application of the JCAP grant funds to be paid by the town.
I got a question. Mike, this is for you. Are you allowed to put video cameras in a courtroom?
Yes, in fact, the Office of Court Administration recommends it, and there's an ongoing program throughout the towns in the state installing cameras in all of the courtrooms.
So that's legal to do that, and it's okay to do that? That was my only question.
We've got them in most of the towns in Schenectady County already.
Do they have to be notified that they're being videotaped when they come in, or
It's a
anything like that?
security camera system. It's for the protection of the people that are attending court and the judges. It's a public, every court session is a public session.
So they are in other courtrooms then?
Yeah, we have no one.
That was my only question.
Thank you, sir. And sir. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second? I'll make it. Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike's a yes. Government efficiency plan compliance. I want to grab a few minutes of your time, everybody, so I'm actually going to ask Mike to walk through it a little bit. He's going to be a little more familiar with it. But there's a plan out there, and we've, I'm confident, have already met the requirement for the tax relief. Maybe we should have talked about this earlier, but, so the county, working with the state and the governor, have enacted a property tax tax freeze credit, whereas the towns can do it individually, or the towns can, in conjunction with the county, provide documented data that we've been able to, through efficiency plans, shared services, et cetera, show that we've been able to save 1% of our.
It's supposed to be 1% of your tax levy, but of course here you don't have a tax levy, so that's a little
I got a
different.
check in the mail the other day from the governor, or from the state for the credit like that.
Right, so for the first year, for the 2014-15 tax year, it was only for school districts.
That's what it was.
Right, so, and then the criteria then was, as long as school district kept their tax levy under the tax cap. The tax cap in legislation is 2%, or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. Last year it was less, about 1.5%. So if your school tax levy only went up 1.5% or less, then the increase in tax would be refunded to all of the taxpayers, homeowner taxpayers in the school district. So that's why you would have gotten your check, I got my check. So now, for the second year of the program.
Make too much money.
I didn't get no check.
Which school district are you in? Maybe not in the same.
Yeah,
Oh.
right down the road from me.
Maybe we'll check that out. For the second year, now it applies to all forms of government, all taxing entities. So cities, towns, villages, and school districts, and the county. But here in Princetown, with no town tax, there wouldn't appear to be an incentive for you to go through this exercise, except that the county needs to meet their required showing of savings. For the county as a whole, if all of the towns and the city of Schenectady joined with the county to submit one application to the state, they would have to show a total of $1.5 million in savings. A big part of that is from the consolidation of the UCC. Most of the other communities are actually saving money out of that. And that's gonna be about $750,000 of the $1.5 million that they have to show. So the county is asking all of the towns and the city of Schenectady to join together, and that's anticipated in the legislation that that's what they would prefer to see. That the state would prefer to see all the municipalities submit one application detailing each town or city's consolidation, cooperation efforts that result in a savings, and submit that. And if you do, all of those municipalities that participate, not only would their residents get the rebate check for any increase in town tax in those places that have town taxes, but they would get the rebate of the increase in the county tax. So that would be the benefit to Princetown residents, that if you join with the county in this program, and the county submits a compliant application, then let's say county taxes go up 1.5% this year, then your residents will get a check, like you got the school district check, they'll get a check for the amount of the county tax increase.
The businesses don't get it.
No, it's for homeowners, businesses don't get it.
So, yeah, so I gotta look at it, but I think there's enough savings that we've done in the last couple of years, about 3 years.
We already did the savings.
Right.
Yeah, because you can go back to 2012 and looking at
We
the
already
efforts you put in place.
I'm not quite sure that quite matches the requirement, but either way, so, our number was $4,337, so, anyway, so that's basically what it is. So hopefully, again, us going it alone, I don't think it's gonna save us anything. Us going in with the county is a better opportunity for the residents of the town to save. That's what the county's saying, but it was free to us before, now we pay. So, but, exactly, I think if you look at it from a county perspective, yeah, it's gonna bring it up to the 750,000 mark, but we still have 500 to get to. It's a big number. Anyway, that's the program. So, whereas, do I have a motion? Whereas as part of the 2015 New York State budget, the governor and the legislature enacted the property tax freeze credit, and whereas year one of the program, the 2014-2015 season, provided a tax freeze credit refund to homeowners if their school district kept its budget within the property tax cap, and whereas year two of the program, 2015-2016, provides for a tax freeze credit refund for any taxing jurisdiction in which the homeowners reside that stayed within the property tax cap, and puts forth a compliant government efficiency plan. And whereas the town of Princetown does not have a town tax, so no refund of town taxes is possible under the state legislation, the town can participate in a government efficiency plan with the county of Schenectady, so that town homeowners could benefit from a refund of county taxes if the county complies with the state legislation. Now be it resolved, the town board of the town of Princetown hereby authorizes the town supervisor to submit the necessary paperwork and documentation of efficiencies to the county of Schenectady to enable the town of Princetown to participate in the county's government efficiency plan.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Joe.
Second.
Lou? Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike? Yes. Passed. Water fund claims, here again for the residents are, we try to list out the individual bills that we need to pay off this month. It's right there. A minute. Need the glasses? It's hereby resolved that the town board approves claims 23 through 39 in the amount of $8,297.83.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike is a yes. General fund claims for 2015, abstract number 4. It's hereby resolved the town board approves claims 55 to claim 84 in the amount of $26,033.37. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike is a yes. All right. That's business for tonight. I will open it up to privileges of the floor at 8:52. Going once. Going twice. Privileges are closed at 8:53. So councilman concerns? Doug? I don't have any. Joe?
Yes. When there's a job opening in Princetown, an ad is placed in the newspaper to inform anyone interested of the opening. Depending on the job, there may be 3 or 4 applicants, or as many as 10 presenting themselves as candidates for that position. The town board then schedules and carries out interviews so as to decide which candidates are best qualified to serve the town. Consider that there are 5 board members, town board members, who have to select a candidate from the total number of applicants. There are 5 applicants interviewed. There's a total of 25 possible outcomes. 5 town board members times 5 applicants. And given the small likelihood that all 5 members would agree on the same person, it is not uncommon for 2 or 3 names to be on the table after each member reports his choice. Then a finalist must be chosen by vote. Supervisor Mike Joyce introduced a selection process that eliminates potential confusion and gives equal voice to each town board member. It also gives each candidate interviewed a fair shot at having his or her credentials openly evaluated. It works like this. After all interviews are completed, each town board member is asked to select his top 3 choices and write them down on a piece of paper that is folded and passed to the supervisor. When all board members' votes are collected, the supervisor tallies up the total number of votes each interviewee received from the town board, and the person with the greatest number of votes gets the job. It is an effective way to reach consensus without abandoning the democratic process. It cleanly and efficiently obtains a majority opinion from the town board. At the same time, it gives each applicant the honor of having his or her credentials fairly evaluated. It's a tool that exemplifies open and transparent government. Unfortunately, the majority of this town board does not see the job selection process in the same light as I do. This is my concern. Not that this majority disagrees with my opinion, but rather that it has ushered in a job selection process that smacks of bald-faced political patronage. As a member of this town board, I am witness to this mockery of representative government and want the citizens of this town to know that it is happening right here and right now. Twice in the past year, by a 3-2 vote, this town board bypassed the job selection process that I just described and chose candidates instantly, just one name, and unanimously. This happened with the selection of the code enforcement officer and most recently with the selection of the planning board secretary. In both instances, credentialed candidates were passed over to make room for cronies. Is this how we want our town to operate? It's ugly and it's dangerous, and it's happening right here in Princetown. That's all I have.
Any questions for Joe? Thank you, Joe. Lou?
No, got nothing.
You okay with your Bob?
Excuse me.
You're up, my friend, for council concerns.
I have nothing.
So, on the selection of the planning board secretary, I agree with Joe. You know, we have a very tried and true process. The interviewee introduces the person, introduces themselves. I start off the interview by doing a job description. This is what the job is, this is what it entitles, this is the job scope. They introduce themselves, we go around the table, we ask one question each, same question for every single applicant. And then we wrap up with the applicant having questions or to the board or just, you know, again, to reaffirm or any closing statements they want to do. This applicant, or this appointment tonight, you know, beat out some very qualified people. Not to mention the previous board secretary, who the town board had promised they would follow the vote and recommendation of the planning board, which voted 6-1 to hire the previous secretary. They ignored that. They ignored who I thought the next person up was the planning board secretary for the town of Rotterdam. 10 years. She does law transcripts and medical transcripts as her regular job. We had I'm not sure if people in the audience understand Six Sigma, but it's a quality tracking certification. Pretty hard. A lot of corporations go through it. It's a regular schooling. So one of the applicants was a Six Sigma black belt. Goes in like karate, brown belt, green belt, black belt, different degrees. You know, had a board member show up late. Didn't even need to open up the folders with the resumes. It was done before it was done. Before we even set the call, we even set the meeting up. It was a done deal. So it was pretty. It was transparent to myself, but I'm assuming it was transparent to the interviewees too, who now I got to call back and say, sorry, you didn't make it. So I was pretty discouraged about that too. On some other items, so we talked about the mailbox, records management, we talked about Schenectady County Shared Services, we talked about invoicing. I did get a notice, Lou, I don't know, I got a flag in the supervisor's office, but the flag in the gazebo for the veterans, I get a chance to put it up, that would be great. The recorder and the sign-in book are no longer in the planning office. I don't know if you guys can find them, that would be great. Myself, Mary Sue Reed, went to court with Mr. Cuevas to try to get back some of the funds from an applicant. They owe us like $13,000, which got delayed, which we kind of anticipated. But this is the reason I'm asking the Vic Benson and eventually the board, the town board, to reenact the escrow policy. The escrow policy being an applicant comes in and depending on the size of his application or the size of the project, puts in a escrow. He gives a check for an escrow amount, say it's $1,000. And then for every time he goes through a hearing or a meeting and the engineers do their work, the lawyers do their work, or whatever expenses are, we delete from the account. And then at the end of the project, we either reimburse the applicant, or if he's exceeding his escrow account, then we ask him to re-up. So I think it's a pretty standard procedure. So I'm going to ask the board to reconsider that too. As following up on Lou and Pat, you're available Sunday, Saturday morning, kind of do a walkthrough. Lou, hopefully you're available at 8 o'clock. You're good, I appreciate it. 284 agreements in the highway, guys, I will contact Joe and Mike France. State of the town we talked about. Did anybody get a chance to see 60 Minutes Sunday night? So it was actually pretty interesting on cybersecurity. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that the court has got viruses on their computers. You know, the supervisor's computer, I mean, I use my own, which Sandy's using now. Our computers are in pretty sad shape. We have no security here. So the 60 Minutes about cybersecurity actually went down to Sony Pictures, North Korea. What North Korea did, if anybody didn't see, was they jumped in, and it took like 3 months. They got in, they took all the data from Sony, brought it back to North Korea, and then set some malware in there. So once they exited, it's like they closed the door, and the viruses made the computers useless. They just ate them up, they burned them alive. And again, it's not, you know, obviously it's dramatic for the town of Princetown, but, you know, as a town, we have sensitive information. We certainly don't have top secret Department of Defense, but we do have birth dates, addresses, social security numbers, you know, our tax rolls are there. So again, I'm going to ask the town board to reconsider the computers. You know, as Lou indicated, or you know, the infrastructure of our town, the roof, the plumbing, is just as critical as the computers here. I mean, this town just won't function if those computers go down. And if they're exposed to the internet, you know, we don't have a firewall. All this guy do is take the dog license spreadsheet, and it's got everybody's addresses on it, everybody's phone numbers. Again, not critical information, but it could be critical information. So I'll be asking the board to look at that again. I did get a call on the machine tonight from National Grid, so I'm going to try to set up another walkthrough or make a presentation for them. This is for the power lines, so I guess there's been some changes. So maybe at the agenda meeting we can. Did that pass actually? Yeah. That didn't pass. Well, Bob, there's a thing we could work on. Anyway, I'll try to set up a meeting with them. I know there's a few people on the edge of the power lines that are interested in what's going on with that program. And finally, I got another call from National Grid, so I've asked them to do a walkthrough. Originally was to do a light survey on Settles Hill Road. I said, we only have one light there. I said, but if you want, you can come to Town Hall and the State Police Building and do an assessment on these two properties. So Lou, if you're available, I'll try to set up a walkthrough.
We already did that last year. You can do it again if they'd like. They said we already have energy efficient lighting in this building, but we can do it again.
Well, I think they were looking actually for more of the outside lighting. But if it's okay with you, I'll do that.
That's fine.
No, thank you.
It's fine.
Cool. Anything for me? Doug?
No.
Joe?
Good job, Mike.
Lou? And Bob?
Just one thing on the interviews, I would just like to say for my own personal feelings, when we do interviews, I personally like to use people from our town. And so I just wanted to clear that up as far as it being political motivated. It's, my personal feeling is I like to use our own people. And,
Mary Sue's from our town.
She's already got 3 other things.
All right.
that's just my own feeling.
Thanks, Bob. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn at 9:06?
So maybe.
So, Bob, Lou?
Yes.
Joe, Jay,